Hi guys, welcome to my channel and thank you for stopping by. I have a question for the community, but before I ask that, before I explain what it's all about, I want to be sure to let you know two things. First of all, I'm in Denmark, as you probably know, most of you, and of course the model car building scene is different over here than it is in the States. It's not as big, far from it, but the model car building scene here in Scandinavia is of course a little different. Maybe you have to bear that in mind. And second of all, I want to say that the thing I want to ask you is not a problem to me, but I know that a lot of other modelers around, yeah, everywhere, they are talking a little bit about this. So I wanted to hear your opinion on this. Um, Let me take you back to the probably late 80s, I guess. I don't know about there. About that time, resin bodies started to be a big thing. And I remember at that time I participated in a lot of model car shows here in Denmark, Sweden, and Norway. And I remember people started to talk about those resin bodies because one thing is to rebuild a model kit like I did, for instance, on this one, my Monkeys Mobile Coupe. It takes a lot of work, a lot of effort to make it look right. I don't think this one is ever made in resin, but you know, guys could use a lot of work chopping a 40 Ford Coupe or whatever, and other guys they would just buy a resin body. And a lot of guys started to talk about, is it fair? Is it fair that those two compete against each other? Because when the finished model is on the table, it can be difficult to see if it is made like that by the model builder or if it is a bought resin body. I guess you know what I mean. So a lot of guys wanted to make a class in the shows for resin models. Models that were based on a plastic kit but had a resin body, for instance. And I think I never had a problem with that. It's okay for me that some guys bought those resin bodies. I could not afford it at the time, but yeah, it's I don't care. I'm not on this side. I'm not on that side. It's fine for me. But now I start to hear and read different places that the same thing is starting about the 3D printing. Um, and of course, I have some models where I used 3D printed parts. This one, for instance, the steering wheel and the carburetors are 3D printed. There's a lot of guys who use a lot of 3D prints. You can get fantastic engines. You can get anything. You all know what you can get 3D printed parts. Some guys cannot afford that. And again, it's a question: how much 3D printed parts is it fair to put in a plastic model kit and still call it a plastic model kit? Again, for me in person, I don't mind. It's no problem for me. But I heard a little bit there through the grapevine, and I read a little bit there in the comments on Facebook like that, people that have a little problem with this. Because you can print out a whole body, you can print out the chassis, you can print out wheels and tires, engines. You can make a complete kit 3D printed. And a lot of guys, from what I've seen and heard, think it's not fair that those models compete against what do you call proper plastic model kits, you know what I mean? Especially if the builder put a lot of effort in modifying the plastic model kit, scratch building and like that. So my question is actually, what do you think about those model kits, models or not model kits, but finished models, you know, that are stuffed with 3D printed parts? I think it's fun to see. You can get almost anything 3D printed right now. And as I mentioned before, I use a little bit myself, not so much. But what do you think? Is it fair at a model show, for instance, with prices? Is it fair that a model that took a lot of work and effort from the model builder because he handmade everything himself has to compete with a model that is loaded with 3D printed parts that somebody just bought somewhere? Is it fair or not? Again, I want to stretch that I don't care. It's not a problem for me. But I hear, you know, around that for some people, they see it as a little problem getting bigger. So yeah, I don't know. So my question is simply, what do you think about the models that are loaded with resin parts or 3D printed parts? When I say resin parts, I mean, of course, casted resin parts, you know, like in the old days, and now it's all 3D printed, also resin. But what do you think? Is it fair? Should it be separated, or is it just fine as it is? Let me know what you hear. And there was a message on my cell phone. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you feel about this. I would like to know. So I would like to know: is it really a problem, or is it okay? I think it's okay. What do you think? So thank you for watching. I will look forward to your answers, guys. Take care, and I'll see you soon in my next video. Bye bye.